Fans, it's Ashley's Corner, and this is part three. This should be the last video I make, just dabbling about Gervonta Davis and this fight in particular, and the stuff that people say about Gervonta Davis. After this, I will make my prediction after this video, but yeah. Let me just go on into it and say what I have to say. Me personally, I honestly don't think that Gervonta Davis stamina and shit is that bad. I don't think his endurance and his stamina is really that bad. Um, I think that for the way Tank actually fights, for his style, for the way he sits down on his shots, and his all around boxing style, I really think that he has good endurance and stamina. Like to keep it up for 12 rounds, outside of his own natural weight at 130, was a lot. For when people load up on shots, they get gas, especially if they miss that shot. Like you're subject to getting tired quicker if you're missing shots and loading up on them than actually just throwing jabs and actually hitting somebody. You're gonna get tired quicker loading up and missing shots. So the fact that he loads up a lot, I really think his stamina isn't that bad. The fact that he's a counter puncher, he doesn't really throw a lot of punches every round anyway. He really doesn't throw a lot of punches. But I'm gonna get to that in my next video when I make my prediction. But since Tank had the IBF title, he fought 6 times. If I include Pedraza, it's 7 times. And out of all of those people, they have a total of 10 losses. 3 of them are undefeated, and besides those fights where somebody came in because somebody stepped up from 126 because he couldn't find a fight or whatever. It was like a whole year, like 2 fights in a row, like that Ruiz Jr. dude and somebody, I think before Nunez or somebody like that. Those 2 fights were, last minute fights that nobody like that. I think that Ruiz character came in 2 weeks before the fight, like before the fight actually happened. Like he didn't have nobody to fight, and so there was people that stepped up. But even those people that stepped up really only had 2 losses at that time. So I mean, he does fight a lot of Spanish people. So did Floyd. It was like that was the key to him getting all of his views, and well, not all of his views, but the key to part of him getting all the recognition that he got. Him beating Oscar De La Hoya, like everybody stared, like the whole Spanish community was looking at Floyd Mayweather from that. And I think he's seen something from that. He took it from it, and now he's doing it with Gervonta Davis. And because of that, a lot of Mexicans, in which people say Mexicans love boxing more than Americans. Well, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. But it's like he knows that it works. And now that he's have Gervonta Davis fighting a lot of Spanish fighters, like the Mexican community know about Gervonta Davis. They know about him. Maybe that's a little piece of the reason on why he's so known in the sport at an early time. Like he was known in the sport immediately when he stopped Pedraza. Like it was coming in. Like everybody was talking about Gervonta Davis. And for the most part, none of them was really coming off a loss besides Cuellar. When he fought Cuellar had took a loss, was coming off a loss versus Abner Mares, but that was 2 years ago. Like he fought Abner Mares, lost, and then 2 years after that, he fought Gervonta Davis. And I don't know why he was the person for that vacant title fight, but that was a title fight. So, and that was, a whole 2 years before that happened. That was for the WBA Super at 130. So I don't really mind that fight. People say they don't really know why Tank fought that. I mean, fought Cuellar, but he fought him because that's the person they put in front of him for a title shot. Regardless of who you are, I don't care who you are. I don't care about you fans when it comes to stuff that's blatantly obvious. Like, you can hate on something all you want, but you're an idiot if you're a fighter and you say, no, I don't want to take this vacant title fight because the person that I'm fighting is smaller than me or not as good as me. Like, no, nigga, you're still gonna take the vacant title fight. But when I look at this stuff, it's just crazy how the stuff that people been saying, and I'm gonna get this out of my system with this last video. But don't understand how you too big for 135. You missed weight for the first time on the scale at that weight class 135. You lose 2 whole pounds in an hour. Go back on the scale, make weight in that same fight, drop Gamboa 3 times, and then stop him in the 12th. But you're supposed to be weight drained and dehydrated and gassed for that fight and for Leo Santa Cruz. But you're only gassed for Leo Santa Cruz strictly because it's a fight at 130 pounds. Now, I've been hearing people saying it's a 4-month camp, 15-week camp. It was a 12-week camp. You heard people say a proper camp is 8 to 10 weeks. He really just added a month on his 8-week camp. Okay, he made it a 3-month camp. It's a 3-week. He made it a 12-week camp. And that shit. It works to me. Like he seemed 100% ready, all around the board. But how can a fighter even do that though? How can a fighter do all of that, but he's so undisciplined? Like Tank fought at 130 pounds 20 times out of his 23 fights. He goes up to 135 pounds for one title fight, misses weight. Now he's a 135-pound fighter, and other people think that he should go up to 140 because he missed weight. If that's the case, fuck, David Benavidez should go all the way up. He should be a fucking heavyweight. If that's the case, shit. If that's how we talking, he missed weight by a large scale. Shit. Should be 175 or something. It should be a cruiserweight or some shit. But he go all the way up there. He misses weight. Now he's a fighter. He's a strictly 135-pound fighter, and he can't make either 130 or 135. Tank loses 2 pounds in 1 hour, makes weight. Power holds up all the way to the 12th round and stops his opponent. But for Leo, he will be weight drained enough to not beat Tank, but people as well as Leo think he can stop Tank. That shit's crazy. So the question is, if Tank comes in under 130 pounds, first time on the scale, and he looks great and stops Leo Santa Cruz, will any of these things continue to be said? I guarantee it will, because it don't come from a place of understanding or trying to like this black young man. It is all from hate. That's all it comes from. And it is, you can't name me Gervonta Davis' flaws in the ring. All you can talk about is what he does outside of it. Tell me his flaws in the ring, if you can. I don't know what y'all been waiting for, but let me hear it. All fans and fighters talk about is his weight and his discipline. A 12-week camp fixed him. Now what's next? Now what is there to talk about? Now, another thing I wanted to say is the type of fighter you are, meaning, your style, and, what you bring to the table, what you bring to the boxing ring, and your talent is not what makes you a champion. Okay, and it's not what makes you a champion in different weight classes. It has a lot to do with the other fighters in that division or in other divisions, whatever. It has a lot to do with other fighters. It has a lot to do with your height and your weight class that you're fighting in, the people that's in that weight class currently at that time. It has a lot to do with your team and your promoter. My point is, I think Pedraza is a very good fighter. Okay? People ain't holding a candle up next to Leo when it comes to Tank versus Pedraza, because they just keep saying Leo is, a four different weight class champion, a title holder. The fact that he's held a title in 4 different weight classes, people think and say that Leo's is a better fighter in every way. Okay. Pedraza being 5'8", with a 70.5-inch reach, 31 years old, with a knockout percentage in the 40s. Versus Tank, he wasn't good enough. But y'all think Leo Santa Cruz, 32 years old, 5'7.5" with a 69-inch reach, in the same, around the same 40% knockout rating, y'all think he's gonna be good enough, yo? Seriously? And I'm just gonna use Bud and Spence just to paint this picture for you. And I'm not comparing them the way that I'm comparing this fight. I'm not comparing Bud and Spence, so don't get in your feelings. I'm just trying to say what I'm thinking right now, okay? If Bud versus Spence happens after Brooke versus Danny, and both of them win they fight, and Bud versus Spence happens, if Bud wins undisputed, even though undisputed means you are the best in that weight class and you're at the top and all of that stuff, there wasn't much heavy lifting done from Bud's side. Okay? Not to say that Spence fought everybody, but he's fought more of the people, of the top people, the top fighters in that weight class. We aren't going, I know I'm not going to believe, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe that he's the best in that weight class because he didn't fight any of the top 5 guys. Just the top fighters, okay? Styles make fights. I know that. So who's to say that Bud would win against the other top fighters? We don't know. He could lose to any of those other top fighters. You know what I'm saying? I'm not throwing no shade or nothing. I'm just saying. This is the difference that it makes. It's not, and I just used them as an example so y'all can understand what I'm saying. When it comes to Leo Santa Cruz, yes, he does have all those accolades. He did get a title in all those weight classes. It's a fact and it's true. But he didn't unify once. His team kept him towards the WBA route. He never fought a lot of guys that he claimed he was fighting. When you go back and listen to him to interviews, everybody that he said he wanted to fight, he didn't fight none of them. None of them. But I'm going to talk a lot about Leo Santa Cruz in my next video when I do my prediction. But that is all I had to say. All right? Always like and subscribe to the channel. And every Saturday, come over to the Liquor Spot on YouTube, 5 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. Peace.